Sky, is that you, Gail?
It is.
And on to PLP. Annie from BBC will go after that. Does anyone need anything under embargo? Take that as a no. In that case, no need to stop. We'll just run it all the way through. One after the other, but we've got a big chance. Cameras happy? Gail can lead us off.
Yeah, should we just get the team news out the way? And I guess that's probably a big one.
Yeah, Seb got a knee injury, a minor knee injury. So that's good news. You're always a little bit worried with the knee, but it's a minor one. We're talking about weeks instead of months. But how many weeks? It depends how quick he's recovering and all that. So I would say straight after the game, I was hoping it was a minor one. So it's I would say it's as positive as it can be with an injury.
And anyone else back?
No, it's the same. No, the same. Yeah.
Okay. A few months ago, we talked a lot, didn't we, about away form and the strangeness of it taking 9 attempts to get your first win. So we should probably celebrate that, shouldn't we? That it's 3 wins in 9 games, the 4th in the first time and being in the top 5. I know a lot is down to the teams, and we've talked about that before. But have you noticed something about your side? Is there something more tangible you can take away? The game management, street smart, what they've maybe learned from those sort of runs?
Yeah, I think sometimes there's a little bit coincidence what's happening. It can be the run of games you're having. It can be various things. But what I think is that in general, our away performance has been quite good. It's about trying to put those as many consistent minutes together, and preferably 90 minutes. So I think we were getting closer and closer with a draw against Everton, a draw against Brighton, and then three very good wins, and especially I'll say the Crystal Palace and the West Ham here, where we're winning 2-1 and you're winning 1-0, so that you only have 1 goal lead. It's just one reflection, it's one bad decision. It's but so I'm been pleased with the wins, and at both wins we managed to avoid a sustained pressure from Crystal Palace and West Ham. So I think the team is growing even more this season, and I think we've been very focused also on I can say the rest defending, so we're not giving too many of these transition away. So that has been good as well.
I was going to ask you how and why you're getting that consistency now.
I also think that the last, I don't know how many games, it seems like we had found more or less the same team also played. Maybe changed one player. Now we had changed. I don't think it's any surprise. Ethan was coming in for Seb, so that's one player, and it was like that's a fine 5 pounder.
That's cheap.
Yeah, that's cheap. Yeah, it's like I'm happy today. So it's only 5. Yeah. So no, it's consistency in the team, I think, and plus we of course constantly look into what can we do to add layers and become a little bit better.
And those layers are.
No, I think what we adjust a few bits, for example, as I said, that rest defending. So when we are attacking, are we in the right position to win the ball back quickly or avoid a transition against us? Our high pressure in general is a good thing, but we need a little bit more consistent performance in the high pressure, and those sorts of bits, I'd say.
And now you are where you are. What do you want in the next few weeks of the season? What's going to make you happy if we sit back and say, hopefully someone's signing the league?
Hopefully a lot of wins, a lot of good performances. I think we've seen this. Suddenly we think, okay, we got the centre-back pairing in Seb and Nathan, and then boom, an injury. So I think it's so fragile to look too far ahead. But I'm excited about the way we look when we go forward with our 4 offensive players, more or less, all of them in great form, Schade, Damsgaard, Wissa and Brian. So even more consistent performances, try to dominate as much as possible, and win a lot of matches.
Damsgaard mentioned, I think, after the game of the weekend, possibility, Europe could go down to 8 this season. Internally, do you believe that?
What? So 8 is.
Well, it depends on. It's very complicated, but if whoever wins FA Cups, Europa Leagues, you look at the teams and you look at where those places could go down.
Yeah.
It could be 7th or 8th, and with that in mind, is that a target?
Yeah, we want to push, and we definitely, if we could achieve that, that would be a fantastic dream. That would be amazing. But I'll do more. I think it's about focusing on against Leicester, do what we can, winning difficult game under the floodlights. They have to win. So one game at a time and get 3 points, and if we're a little bit further down the line, maybe being able to dream a bit more. And I think a big target for us is that we haven't won 2 games in a row. So we want to dream about these European spots. I think we probably need to show a little bit more consistency.
Just one, I think Ruud was watching brief when you played them.
Who, sorry?
Ruud van
Oh, yeah.
Watching brief, didn't he? That sort of win at the end of the season. I wondered where you thought he got Leicester to, what you might expect, and whether or not you're sort of seeing the stamp of what he's trying to do.
No, I think of course it's a tough situation there, and it's never nice to be in the relegation zone, even that it's very tight down there. So I think Ruud come in and gave it some structure and some. I know they haven't won that many games, but also a little bit of stability in some performances. And also, I think in finding closer and closer his starting 11. And I think this is a Premier League team with a lot of Premier League experience. They only been down 1 year. A lot of those starters are players who have played a lot of games in the Premier League. So I think that means a lot. I think they have 4 front players, Mavadidi, El Canous, Vardy, we know, still going strong, and Ayew, they can hurt any team. So, and then, as I said before, under the floodlights Friday night, in a game that they in a way know they need to get something from, that's going to be very difficult. On the flip side, we believe in ourselves. We are coming in with confidence, but we need to perform. We need to perform at a very good level. You're welcome.
Thomas, nice to see you. In my defence, it was my laptop.
Still a fine. Yeah.
Forgive the obvious question to start, but you yourself seem to be enjoying it more than ever this season. Obviously, the focus, the drive, the mentality has always been there, but there seems to be even more a focus on enjoyment. Is that the case, and is that something you purposely implemented?
From the team, that they are enjoying it?
Yeah, both.
I think it's a big part in life. If we are able to, and being that privileged that we're enjoying going to work every day, I think that's a massive privilege. I definitely speak about that with the players and the staff, that we are very privileged to be where we are. One thing in football, which is a fantastic industry, tough industry, but a fantastic industry, and very privileged to a lot of other places, I would say. And then we are in a club where there's a lot of stability, and you can feel that you can be yourself and you can express yourself. So I think that's important. And then we tried last year in the beginning of the season, and then we struggled with injuries. But I think the extra layers we added to go more forward, try to be more dominant, having some extremely good types on the pitch that are exciting to look at. I think that gives me definitely, and hopefully also the players, a boost.
We've had a little bit of talk about the European places just now. At what point do you start to look at the table and think there's a real possibility here that obviously we, best place finish 9th, we can really do something quite special this season?
I think we need to get a few games down the line before going away from my one game, next game focus. I think we have performed in spells very, very well and looked extremely good and exciting this season. But as I said before, if you want to achieve something like that, you need to put some wins together in a row and get in need consecutive wins. So that's the first start. So hopefully we can do that tomorrow night. So that's the first step.
Well, Keane Lewis-Potter was outstanding against West Ham.
I agree.
How key a player is he for you now? Obviously still young, 23 years old, but he's becoming an integral part of your side, isn't he?
I think he has been really grown into this year. Really developed, I would say. Very impressive in many ways. There were some situations against West Ham where he's playing left back, but the way he anticipates the situations, as I say to him, for me, you're not a left back forever. For me, you're a player that can play a lot of positions and a lot of positions well. Of course, your go-to is still the winger or the left winger. But the way he anticipates the situation is that's a key thing to become a good footballer. No matter if you play left back, left winger, striker, midfielder, or centre back. And he played with confidence and he looks forward. There was also a situation where we were just driving past Bowen and just took the ball 60 yards forward. So he's very important for us.
Is that versatility that you talked about just there one of the most integral parts of being a player in the modern game?
I think some are more suited for it, and I think the ones who are suited for it, I believe is positive. Also, it depends a little bit how you are as what kind of personality you have as a player. But big praise to Keane. He's just embraced it, and just took on the role and developed it. Maybe he's how can you say, taking left back to another level when we play with a right foot on the inside. Maybe that's the new way you need to play a left back.
Are players like Keane and Kevin and Mikel a testament to, with a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, you can get to where you want to be? I mentioned before Keane being an integral part of his squad now. It's the same, isn't it, for the other two players that I just mentioned? So is it just about sometimes having that little bit of patience?
Yeah, I think it's crucial for the player, for the head coach, for the club, for the coaching staff, everyone, that we are patient and we remember that, and we are dealing with human beings that will have ups and downs and setbacks and good spells and so on. We got 25 players in our squad. I can start 11. So it's very simple math that there are some players we need to be patient with, and it's very rare a player is coming in, boom, and just playing every game. Very, very few players. It'd be interesting stat to make one day to see how many players that actually played from their first senior year, second senior year, and have played 80, 90% of their games as a starter, and how many that have, had a little bit up and down and then hopefully had a long spell and then they played. So I think it's more that pathway players should look towards as the starting point, instead of everyone is dreaming about being Messi and Ronaldo.
Just on Leicester, I know you won't want to give too much away tactically, but what can you tell us about, what you're expecting from them in terms of how they'll set up?
Yeah, well, I expect them. I think they've been fairly good in the 4-4-2 defensive block, middle pressure and low block, but also can go high and press aggressive high. I expect them to press us tomorrow night. And then up front, we know both on the half transitions, but also with their crosses. I think they are dangerous when they go forward.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thomas, when you play a team like Leicester in the situation they're in, you mentioned, under the lights Friday night, 17 points, they could move out of the relegation zone on the night. How much do you have to, even with the quality you've been showing, match their intensity, the passion that they're going to bring to it?
That's the minimum we need to come with. It's going to be very tricky and very, very difficult game because they will come flying out, and I think it'll mean a lot to them, as you say, that if they could, suddenly be out of the relegation zone, at least for one day, but that'll just give a boost. So we need to be aware of that, but we acknowledge them. We respect them massively. I think they got a lot of good players. I think they got a good coach. They are good. But on the flip side, we need to focus on us. We need to focus on what we have done well. Trust our own processes, trust our own structure, and then make sure we come with the right mentality and attitude, which I'm convinced we will do.
I know you've got players that you're still hoping to bring back in who've been out for a long time, but in general, if you look back 12 months, it must be great to look at your squad at the moment and look at your bench and think, wow, we do look a lot healthier, because it just seemed last season it was just relentless, the players out.
Yeah, no doubt that was tough. I still think we just have a few I would like to have in, but I think every manager wants that. Now we can't compare last season to this season. That was good. Also, there was times where we didn't have any offensive players, barely, and now we got a touchwood very fluid and performing front four.
With the home game, it was the Schade hat-trick, wasn't it? How pleased have you been to see his progress throughout this season, to really get a starting place regularly for you, the progression he's made?
Very good progression. I think he, of course, that was a standout game. Hopefully he can produce more of those games that he produced against Leicester. But those are the rare ones. Even if you are the superstars, it's not that often you score a hat-trick and an assist in one game. What I like is his consistency in his performances the last couple of weeks. I think he scored in the last 2 or 3. Didn't score against Tottenham, but scored against Crystal Palace, scored against West Ham. But his overall game, I think he's lifted it. And I think the most important thing, the last 4 or 5 weeks, is also see a even more better lift in his performances in training. I think that's the key.
And if I could just ask you about Jamie Vardy, because you mentioned him, I mean, how impressed are you that he's still doing what he's doing at the Premier League level?
That is extremely impressive. I think we all know his story. A lot of people have spoken about that before me. Incredible story. The journey he's been on. He will forever be a Leicester legend. I don't know if there's a statue outside the stadium. There will be one day. There should be. And the way he's still leading the line. The way that every manager in the Premier League they definitely speak about Vardy before they face them, just like I've done today and yesterday and will do tomorrow. That just speak volume about what a career, and he's still going strong.
And just finally from me, I think the fans are looking at the games coming up and thinking there might not be that many Saturday 3 p.m s. Given that it is a Friday night game, do you actually enjoy the fact that you can kind of watch the rest of the games that weekend, and especially if it's a win, I suppose?
Definitely better after a win. So hopefully it is a win. I haven't thought about that too much, if I'm honest. But of course, I will. Of course, follow the games on Saturday. Hopefully after a good performance and 3 points.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got Sam and then Jack.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
Just wanted to start with Aaron Hickey. I know you said hoping for full training this week. Has that gone to plan?
That's gone to plan, yeah. Full training. I must be honest, he looked good, so that's positive.
Perfect. And then Igor Thiago even, same thing. I think it was, you said he might start running this week.
Yeah.
Has that happened?
No, that was the might.
No worries.
But still on track. Nothing. It's easy decision.
And then Rico Henry as well. Where's he?
On pitch this week, so that was also positive.
Perfect. And then on Monday, I know there was a B Team game. A lot of first team players played, and I know quite a few of your coaches were there as well. I wondered what sort of feedback you got on the performances of some of the players in that game. In general, good. Good to get 90 minutes. I think that's the big thing. It's you can train a lot in the smaller groups, but I think that
exposure to 90 minutes is extremely important for the players. Suddenly we need them, and maybe need to start a game. And if they haven't played 90 minutes, that's difficult to replicate just in training. Fine performance across the board. Yunus was maybe the one that stood out a bit.
And with Kayode, obviously that was his first minutes in a Brentford shirt. What's his performance?
First minutes.
Sorry.
Not first minutes.
First start. Sorry.
No, yeah, good. Yeah, fine. That was nothing. Yeah, good performance.
And then after the game against West Ham, there was quite a bit of talk with Damsgaard and Wissa and Schade about how fluid this front line has been and their sort of development this season, how comfortable they feel with each other. And I wondered whether you've seen any sort of growth in that department.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the more they play together, the four of them, the better they will learn each other. So there's definitely, I think there's a clear relationship between the four of them, of course, but Wissa and Brian got clearly a connection. I think Wissa and Dams got a better connection. I think Dams and Kevin got a better connection, you know. So they are just growing in it, and it's not that the others don't have connection, but those are the standards. The other are just, you know, growing. Yeah, so that's good.
And I wondered sort of how much with this whole fluid thing is that's between them, or how much do you guide them on those sort of things?
We guide them with some starting positions and some guiding principles where I want them to be in crosses. But then there's a lot of half transitions and where there's football decisions. And the more they talk to each other where they want the ball being played and so on, the better. So I'm animating them to speak to each other. So for example, Kevin, I say speak to Dams when he got the ball, so he knows where you were running and stuff like that.
And with Schade in particular, I know you said sort of early in the season he was quite a reserved character. Is he really growing? Because obviously his form's really picked up in this new year.
Yeah, but I think we are who we are. Some is extrovert, some is introvert. Kevin is introvert, but I think and then you can have good spells and tougher spells, and he's in a very good spell, and I definitely see a positive Kevin around the training ground and a lot of smiling, and that's just me. You don't have to smile. I'm a big believer in smiling is a good thing, because then you are in a good place, and normally if you smile to people, they tend to smile back. So I think that's positive energy.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Thomas. I just wanted to focus in on Fabio Carvalho. I was at the B Team game with Sam on Monday, and subjectively speaking, he seemed quite disinterested, didn't really want to get involved in duels out fear of getting injured. As Sam mentioned, Kevin O'Connor, Klaus Norgard and Keith Andrews were there. Was anything in particular said about his performance?
Not that it was, I think that's your subjective opinion. Is that correct? Yeah. So yeah. So that's a good thing. We all have our own opinion, and I think that's how it should be. There was no standard feedback about anyone being particularly bad or particularly top. But there was good. How can you say? Good foundation performances where you do the basics right. So as I know Fabio, he's also a little bit introvert, so if you don't know him well, you can misjudge him a bit. So there was nothing coming my way that he's done something in a wrong way.
Okay. When it comes to first team players involved with the B Team, what do you expect from them? What standard do you expect?
They work hard, and they do the role that they've been told to do, and then it's just like we all want them to score a hat-trick and do well if they're offensive players, or make sure we don't concede any goals if they're defensive players. But it's just like any other game. Some they could play good, some they play bad, just like when they play a Premier League game.
Okay, it's almost been a bit of an inconsistent start for Carvalho at Brentford. He's only started 2 of Brentford's 25 Premier League matches. How would you evaluate his first 6 months at the club?
Tough, of course. Tough for him. I think sometimes you're coming in the perfect timing and everything is good. And he maybe came in at a stage where you didn't know that when he came in. But after that Damsgaard, don't think. Of course, I knew. No, none of us really knew that he would have a top season. Believed he would have a good season, and Damsgaard just been so good, so he's been unplayable. So, and they are playing a little bit the same role. It's not that I can't play Fabio to the side and Damsgaard at the same time. And then when there were the windows where maybe we could step more in, then others have done well. So Wiz have done well, Brian have done well, Kim done well. There's 4 players doing well. Fabio is very aware of that, so he just needs to keep training well, which he's doing.
Okay, you mentioned the 4 players that have been in great form this season. When he returned back to Liverpool from his loan at RB Leipzig, Leipzig's sporting director alluded to the point that he wasn't too keen on competition. So how do you feel like he's dealing with the competition at Liverpool?
That must be on the sporting director's, again, subjective opinion. I see a player in Fabio that is dealing unbelievable well with not getting enough minutes. I don't know one player that don't want to play, and also in his situation where he's coming and hope for playing even more consistent minutes and not getting it, of course it's tough. He trains well, he's in the gym every day, he's doing everything he can. There's a good group of players that's also around him and, reassuring him that he will get his chance, which he will.
And finally, I kind of looked into Fabio Carvalho's top 5 career.
Do you like him or do you don't like him? It feels like you have a little bit of a...
No, there's no agenda.
Okay. Oh, let me put this with it's slightly negative, the questions, but maybe it's just me, just a subjective opinion from me.
Yeah, like you said, it's always good to be subjective.
It is, yeah.
He's only, when you kind of put together all his minutes in top flight football, he's only actually played 13 top flight matches.
Yeah.
Do you almost feel like expectation on him should be lowered just when you take that into account?
But are the expectations high? I don't know. It's maybe because I don't read anything, so I don't know. Are they high, the expectations?
I think given the price tag, or reported price tag he came in for,
yeah,
and the fact he's not really been able to get consistent minutes in the team, perhaps they're a bit higher?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair. I think he's a young player. I think, was it the question before, what was it? Was it something else? But anyway, the pathway to the top is just, we just talked about the patience. That was you. That now it came to mind that. So it's good he's in a club where we have a lot of patience and coaches, staff and himself. So he's been here 8 months and hasn't played as much. I'm convinced he'll be a very good player for us, and I'm convinced he will also have a good Premier League career.
Okay, I do want to add one more, just so I end on a more lighter note. What do you think Brentford fans should expect from him? Because you get to see him on a day-to-day basis. What perhaps we haven't seen on the pitch that you've seen there?
I think, he already managed to score quite a few goals and assists. I know it's been in a cup run. So I'm definitely expecting that we can see that. When we see him in training, he's a very good finisher and he can set the rest of the players up, and have done that plenty of times. So he need, like any other player, to have a consistent run of games to show his qualities. But he's doing all the basics right.
Brilliant, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, hi Thomas. So great answering from your forwards in the West Ham game. And what you mentioned about connection and just chemistry between each other, all your 4 forwards. It's quite positive, but playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. Now seeing your form in 2024, of the season, where you were the top scoring team and everything, it's gone down a bit, given you've only scored 6 goals so far in 2025, barring the Southampton game, obviously. Do you think the lack of a traditional striker is affecting, or like something else, just forwards from this course?
No, I just think we were very efficient in the first part of the season. I still think we create a lot of good situations. I think actually the West Ham game, for example, Wizard scored 2 goals. One of them very marginal offside, and the other one more clearly offside. And I don't think that he scored 11 goals in Premier League, I think. And I don't, of all the 20 Premier League teams, how many strikers have scored 11 goals? The main strikers. 5, 6, I don't know. So that's quite good. So I think we got a a leading striker and a good striker in Wissa. Of course, I would love us to score a few more goals.
And looking on the other side of the pitch, Mark Flekken is number 1 ranked in terms of saves in the entire Premier League, quite far ahead of Matt Sells second. Do you think that's an issue, like worrying, like do you need to worry defensively, or that's just a sign of a good goalkeeper?
I definitely think he has saved the ball too much, if I'm completely honest. You can't save too much, that sounds negative. So it's very positive he's had a lot of saves, because he was the last man standing in a way and tried to save the world. Again, I think take the Liverpool game away. I think the last 6 or 7 games we've been much more, I would say, solid, giving less shots away and less opportunities, which I'm very pleased with. Especially away to West Ham, home to Tottenham, away to Crystal Palace. I think was really, really good games. Southampton away. So those 4 games were where I more want to be. And we looked a lot into why is it we're conceding so many shots and so many saves. So we really tried to address a few of these things.
And Ruud van Nistelrooy spoke about your long-term thinking and wish he had that kind of thought process himself. And says other Premier League clubs and other managers should learn from that. So what are your thoughts about that?
Of course, it's nice. Thank you. I think he's right. I think the club has done brilliantly, but all clubs is not like copy-paste, that you can just take what we have done and then do it into another club, because all clubs are on different levels, different part of their journey. Leicester have been a Premier League club, have been unbelievable. I think if their fans look back and if they said 10 years ago to now, they would have taken it. No doubt. They won the championship, the Premier League. They won a FA Cup. They played Champions League. And yes, they went down. And yes, maybe they go down this year. Hopefully not for them. But imagine that journey. That's unbelievable. Could they have done differently? I don't know. I've not been close enough. So I think they've done fantastic.
And yeah, finally from me, I don't know if you're aware, but former sporting director at Manchester United, Dan Ashworth, revealed that you were his number 1 choice to replace Erik ten Hag in November. Obviously, leaving was never an option since your commitment, love for Brentford. But how do you feel about being a prime candidate for such a big club like that?
Being what, sorry?
Being the prime candidate.
I don't know if I was the prime candidate. Of course, it's nice that Dan is saying that. So that's of course always nice for to hear. It's nice to hear. But yeah, I'm happy here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We will leave it there.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I'll confirm over the weekend, but we'll